I never imagined my mute daughter would find her voice, all thanks to a strong single mom. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The air felt thick, suffocating, as if the universe was pressing down on my chest. My heart raced with uncertainty. Amara, my little girl, sat in the corner of our cluttered living room, surrounded by toys that lay untouched. Her tiny hands trembled, and in that moment, I could see the shadows of her unspoken fears that I wasn't always this frantic. Just a few months ago, we were just an ordinary mother and daughter, laughing over shared breakfast on sunny mornings. Memories of her bright giggles echoed in my mind, drowning in a sea of darkness now. After the accident, she retreated into a world of silence, wrapping herself in isolation like a heavy blanket. I felt so helpless, desperately searching for answers, with each day stretching longer than the last that I thought about my own struggles. Single parenting is no walk in the park, especially when you aren't equipped with a guide. The world can seem so harsh when you're all alone, and I often felt the bitter sting of judgment from others. Each disapproving glance cut deep, like blades carving into my skin. I could feel their whispers, their disbelief swirling around me like a storm. How could I save my daughter when I could barely save myself? But Amara, she was the light in my darkness. Her deep brown eyes sparkled when she managed to smile, even amidst her pain. I could see the desire to speak in her gaze, yet the words remained trapped, hidden behind her lips. I wanted to shake the silence out of her, to shatter it like glass. I was ready to fight any obstacle that stood in our way. I spent nights scrolling through research articles, seeking the secrets of speech therapy, reading stories of miraculous recoveries. I was determined. I felt there was something deeper, something unseen holding her back. One day, as I was cleaning out an old box in the attic, I stumbled upon a dusty radio. It was an old relic from my childhood, forgotten but still sparkled with potential. When I plugged it in, crackles filled the room, its tired voice hummed with memories. I hesitated, then pressed play. The melody wrapped around me, tender and haunting. Suddenly, I turned to see Amara staring at the radio, her eyes wide, filled with something that resembled recognition. My heart raced faster. Was this it? Could music be her key to breaking free? But just as hope surged, a peculiar thing happened. The room went silent. The lights flickered. And there was that feeling again, that eerie sensation of being watched, like the very walls were leaning in to listen. I shivered, glancing at Amara. Did she feel it too? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The unease that enveloped me deepened as I turned back to Amara. Her eyes, wide and shimmering, reflected something I couldn't quite grasp. There was a curiosity in them, but also an unsettling fear, as though she too felt the weight of our shared silence, the very thing that had encased her like a fragile butterfly trapped in a jar. Amara, honey, are you okay? I asked gently, crossing the small distance between us. My heart raced, pulling me closer to the edge of hope, a hope that now felt like a burning ember, fragile but alive. She nodded slowly, still transfixed by the radio. I followed her gaze, and it was as if time itself held its breath in that moment. The melody danced in the air, joyous yet melancholic, a paradox that mirrored Amara's spirit. I knelt beside her, resting my hand gently on her shoulder, a silent promise that I was here, that she wasn't alone. Do you remember when we used to dance in the kitchen? I smiled, hoping to elicit a glimmer of the girl who once twirled with laughter. The mere thought of those moments warmed my heart, a fleeting reprieve from the storm brewing within me. We can dance again, you know. The music hasn't forgotten us. I reached out to touch the radio, my fingers brushing its rough surface, and as if it understood, a new song poured forth upbeat and inviting. I stood, extending my hand toward Amara, my heart pounding with anticipation. She hesitated for a split second, uncertainty tugging at her, but then she reached out, her tiny fingers wrapping around mine. In that moment, I saw a flicker of something in her eyes, an ember igniting into a small flame that we began to sway, slowly at first, making small movements to the music that swirled around us like a warm embrace. Despite the heaviness, something beautiful happened. Amara's nervousness melted away, and her lips curled into the slightest smile. I felt a rush of connection, a reminder of our bond, of the immense love that tethered our hearts, but just then, the melody shifted abruptly into a haunting tune, one that echoed with sorrow, instantly cooling the warmth we had created. It sent a shiver down my spine, and Amara flinched, her smile faltering. I could see the tension rippling through her body. "Shoo, it's okay," I whispered, but my voice felt small against the haunting vibrations. The atmosphere grew heavy again, as if the shadows thickened around us. The room dimmed slightly, and I could sense something stirring beyond the reach of our fragile moment. Suddenly, a sharp knock on the door jolted us both. I turned toward it, my heart racing with a mix of confusion and anxiety. Who could that be? I wondered aloud, my stomach knotting with unease. "Mom?" Amara's voice, though quiet, trembled as she squeezed my hand tighter. "It's all right," I reassured her, masking my own growing trepidation. I made my way to the door, hesitating as every instinct screamed for me to turn back. What if it was something that would shatter the small joy we had found, something that would remind us of the despair lurking just outside our fragile sanctuary? With a deep breath, I opened the door, revealing a neighbor I barely recognized, Elizabeth. Her face was pale, eyes wide with worry, and my heart sank as I registered the gravity of her expression. "Can I come in?" she asked hurriedly, glancing behind her as if expecting something dark to follow her inside. That I nodded, unsure of how to respond to her unexpected presence. "Of course," I managed, stepping back to let her enter. As she crossed the threshold, her voice trembled. I heard the song. It's beautiful, but I need to tell you something. There's been an accident." Her words hung in the air, heavy with impending dread, twisting my insides. "An accident?" I echoed, a sense of dread swelling in my chest. "Don't want to upset you, but it's concerning the children from the school. They were playing near the street, and then..." Tears pooled in her eyes. I felt the world shift unsteadily beneath me. "Is Amara okay?" I blurted out, panic flooding my veins. Amara stood in the living room, her small body rigid, eyes darting between us, every whisper of fear pouring into her expression. "That I don't know. I just thought you should know, and we should talk." Her voice cracked, a fragile thread that broke the veil of calm drowning me. In that moment, trapped between despair and a flicker of hope, reality crashed in around us like a wave, sweeping away the fleeting connection we had just shared. As Elizabeth stepped closer, I knew that nothing would ever be the same again, and whatever came next would not only test us, but redefine everything we thought we knew about our world. And just like that, my heart sank. My daughter, my sweet Amara, was at the center of a storm too fierce for even the strongest to withstand. A cold shiver tore through the warmth of the room, leaving a haunting chill in its wake. Every instinct within me screamed to know more, to dive deeper into the heart of this new dread that had been thrust upon us. The world formed an unsettling shadow around Elizabeth as she tried to piece together a coherent thought, but all I could hear was the steady thrum of panic hammering in my ears. "What do you mean, the children? What happened? Is it serious?" Each question felt heavier than the last, the weight of impending despair pressing down on my chest, suffocating me even as I held on to Amara's trembling hand. Elizabeth drew in a shaky breath, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "There was a car. The driver wasn't paying attention. They swerved. Amara, I think she needs to be checked." Her voice broke, words failing her as sorrow clawed at her throat. A pulse of righteous anger surging in me was both frightening and exhilarating. "You have to be sure she's fine, Elizabeth. Please." My pleas felt like frantic birds flapping against a cold, unyielding window. I don't know, she whispered, her gaze dropping as she flinched at my tone, but the teacher said they needed to contact the parents, and I thought before she could finish, a voice emerged from the back of my mind, unbidden but fiercely, a voice that rushed forth in defiance. In a world where silence often stifled my daughter, I would give her as many chances to be heard as I could. We never let fear silence us, I told Amara softly, my voice calm despite the internal chaos. I knelt down beside her, searching her eyes for that ember which had flickered just moments ago. Sweetheart, look at me. Her beautiful brown eyes met mine, and I saw the reflection of a soul trying hard to find her way back. No matter what they say, you are safe. I'm here with you, always. You're my brave girl. Amara's grip on my hand tightened, the small but strong reassurance coursing through me. Forcing a smile, I turned back to Elizabeth, weighing the uncertainty. Okay, where do we need to go? Her relief washed over her like summer rain. There's a gathering at the clinic. The parents were asked to come and speak to the staff. I can drive you both, if you want. The idea of descending into the chaos stemmed a fresh wave of dread. Yet I could not allow the shadows to drown us when there was even an inkling of hope that my daughter's laughter still had a chance of echoing through our home. Sure, I said, glancing back at Amara, her eyes wide and quivering at the thought of leaving the only sanctuary we had. Should we take your backpack? I asked her gently, hoping for a sign of something, any small token of comfort before we stepped into the unknown. She shook her head, but in that moment, a glimmer of resolve ignited within me. It had been the small things before, the little acts of rebellion, like the music, the dances, the smiles. I would not let fear strip us of those joys now. Let's go, I urged, pulling myself to my feet and leading Amara toward the door. Each step felt like a mile, the threshold representing the final barrier. With a deep breath, I turned back to Elizabeth, who hesitated in the doorway as if grappling with everything that had transpired. Her vulnerability mirrored the fragility of our own hope. As we stepped outside, the cool breeze kissed my cheeks, a reminder of the world beyond our walls. The familiar streets, lined with trees that had once whispered secrets to my daughter, now felt foreign. But as we walked, the blossoms trembling on branches seemed to nod at us, urging us forward. The clinic loomed ahead, its clinical facade stark against the muted sunset. Children's laughter floated from the playground nearby, a stark contrast to the silence I felt enveloping us as we approached. Anxiety was thick in the air like a dense fog, charging through the small group of parents assembled there, each face marked by a mix of fear and hope. I want you to stay close to me, Amara, I said softly, keeping my hold on her hand tight. She nodded, her small posture growing slightly more resolute as we stepped into the crowd. But just as we began to settle, a sudden shout erupted from the group, an anguished cry that rippled through the throng like wildfire. Where is she? Where is my daughter? The sound sliced through the air, razor-sharp and raw, a parent's worst nightmare. My heart faltered at its resonance, instinctively squeezing Amara's hand tighter. Panic surged again, my thoughts racing as images of my own baby filling every crevice of my mind. As I turned to look for Elizabeth, catching a glimpse of her broadening fear mirrored in my expression, something shifted, Basidian urgency thrumming under the surface. Another voice in the crowd grew louder, a thread of hope. She was just here. Someone must know something. Amara, stay close. I instructed, my gaze pinged